This is still Banking and More, and we are still with Reverend Daniel Ogbarmey Tetteh, Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission. With this very decision, the revocations of the license and then the aftermath and all that, one of the implications is political. It has political connotations, and this is an election year. You should be concerned that your institution, its decision is having a political implications that could impact the government. Have you been worried by people or by yourself that this decision which I took in the wider interest of society is beginning to take a political dimension? That
well, I think that, you know, we started this exercise a number of years back. It's important to bring out this fact. So right from 2017 when I got in here, in fact before then there had been a report that had been done you know, at the commission, picking on the issues that were, if you like, trouble spots within the asset management industry. So, I mean, the very comprehensive, or there was a comprehensive report that was done. Now, when we also came, we picked it up, and then we even commissioned forensic audits to be done on a number of the firms. So, we have gone through a number of processes. Now, when it comes to revocation, before you get to revocation, which is typically the last step that a regulator like the SEC would do, you do a number of engagements. So for these companies, a number of them, principally they were unable to return client funds to them, apart from a number of regulatory breaches that they had engaged in. Now, typically when we go for inspection and we pick up issues, we would flag them to the firm and then give them some time. We'll go back, you know, to check whether they've been able to resolve the issues. When we have customers bringing a complaint here that this firm is not giving me my money, we'll call them, we'll have a hearing, bring the company, bring the complainant, and then, you know, an agreement, a payment plan is agreed. Now, in a lot of the cases, these firms fail to go by the payment plans. Okay, so there were a number of activities. Before we came up with a revocation decision, then we gave them, if you like, okay, even before that, there were some people, you talked about capital along the line. There's some people who said, oh, we want to inject some more capital. We need to inject some more liquidity into our operation. So we said, okay, that's fine. Bring us a plan, and let's see how you're going to introduce new capital into your operation. So, and then they'll ask for time, they'll give us some time to come up with it. Some were unable to deliver and all of that. So all this was going on, you know, and that's why I think earlier you mentioned that if there's a notion that if we are taking decision earlier, we wouldn't be where we are. But you see, as a regulator, you need to give the operators some room to address issues that come up. Okay, so because, you know, if at the first instance of an infraction, then you talk about revoking the license. That is not how it is done. So it's actually taking some time for us to come to the revocation decision, and it was in 2019. It just so happens that because we've been using, we are using the liquidation pathway, it has traveled to where we are, okay, and which has fallen into an election year. I'm trying to say that there was nothing political about the whole exercise. Some report had been done based on assessment of the risk that we saw emerging. A certain line of action was proposed. We had to conduct a forensic audit, and I told you about processes. You have to, you know, go through some processes to get the agents that will do the forensic audit. Then they need time to do it. So all this is time. So there was nothing political about the decision, you know. So I insist that there's nothing political about what we did.
So I get the sense that you are trying to create an industry that is completely different or better than you came to meet it. Talk to the players out there. What kind of industry do you have in your mind? What kind of role can they play in getting you to create that industry for them and for the country as a whole?
Let me start by saying that, you know, I'm here to continue what has been started. I won't want to pretend as if I am, you know, bringing a revolution in the securities industry. The securities industry is where, you know, you can raise long-term or patient capital, which is critical for economic activity. Now, it's important for investors to have confidence in the capital market or securities industry. And the confidence would be driven by the perception that you have a regulator that is firm and fair, and then you have professionals that are also working within the licensed firms and who are doing their job professionally. Okay, so you know, we recently had to go through an exercise to come up with a capital market master plan. And I can tell you that we actually included the capital market operators, you know, as well as other relevant stakeholders in the process, because the capital market touches on a lot of you know, sectors and a lot of people. And let me tell you what the vision is. Okay, so again, just for clarity, this capital market master plan, we are now taking it to cabinet for approval, and I believe that we should get approval soon. And when we get approval, then we'll do a launch. But let me just give you a peek into the vision, because that is where we are headed. Because you wanted to find out what I'm thinking in terms of where we are headed. But thankfully, this vision is not just my vision, but something that we evolved through an engagement or consultative process, which was quite iterative because we did back and forth. So the vision that we have in the Capital Market Master Plan is to have a deep, efficient, diversified, and well-regulated capital market that has a full range of products attractive to both domestic and international investors. Okay, so a market that is deep, efficient, diversified, and well regulated, because these are things that will give confidence to investors, those who own capital. My expectation is that as we work out the various initiatives within this capital market master plan, we would be able to see a capital market or a securities industry that touches and impacts on the lives of individuals, on households, on businesses, and the economy as a whole. Let me break it down for you. Now, through the capital market, I believe that there will be capital raising opportunities. So especially SMEs that, you know, are in need of capital. You know, if you have an efficient capital market, it can help them in raising capital. If they do that, they can expand their businesses, which can lead to employment, and more employment generation can even help in the fight against poverty in our country. You know, so businesses or SMEs in particular, you know, can benefit immensely from the capital market. Again, a well, you know, a deep and diversified capital market will also mean that there will be a broader investment universe. And when I talk about investment universe, I'm talking about the availability of investment vehicles or instruments. That would again help both individuals and institutions to invest their surplus funds, you know, to achieve various investment objectives. Okay. Again, when you have a deep, efficient, diversified, well-regulated capital market, you find that savers, and if I talk about savers, that's anyone who has got, is able to save some money, would be able to channel the savings into instruments that can help in achieving some particular outcome. So for instance, education, you know, there'll be an instrument, or there'll be a vehicle that you can put some money aside to raise money to achieve good education for your children or for yourself. You can have an outcome of people using a capital market instrument to, let's say, acquire accommodation or houses. And you know, Maxwell, that housing is one of the real challenges that we have. So if, let's say, there's a real estate investment trust that enables, or there's some other housing scheme that enables individuals, people who wouldn't dream that they can own their own houses, and then all of a sudden the capital market, because it's deep, because it's efficient, because it's diversified, and it has a full range of products. Now people can use the capital market, to as a means of acquiring their own accommodation, or even people who are in school and they are being told that, look, you don't need to wait and look for a job, but you can create a job. Again, there will be instruments that they can put in some small savings to build up some capital for, let's say, an outcome of starting their own business, and so on and so forth. So you'll find that we'll be able to touch individuals, touch households, touch businesses, and ultimately touch the entire economy once you're able to deliver a deep, efficient, diversified, and well-regulated capital market. You have the operators having professionals who do a good job in terms of coming up with ideas. So I think that we will need the support of all the different players, especially the market operators. One of the things that we are looking at in terms of deepening capacity of the market players is to introduce continuous professional development, just to make sure that the professionals, they are on the cutting edge. Because if you're going to come up with new products, you need to know what it takes to do that. Okay, so it will call for the support and cooperation of all the various stakeholders whose activities have an impact on the attainment of the goals. But I'm excited about the Capital Market Master Plan, and I'm looking forward to getting the cabinet approval. And I think once we get it and we roll it out, we'll get people to see some of the interesting initiatives that we have in there. And I think if we can achieve, even if not all, we can achieve a significant portion of the initiatives in the Capital Market Master Plan, I think that we'll all be proud of whatever job we've done in building a solid securities industry or capital market that touches all kinds of economic actors.
Reverend, you are one person who wears two hats, an investment banker and then a preacher of the gospel of God. When you get into the other realm, the preaching, how do you feel? Especially when over here you have to take decisions that have certain implications on the lives of others. Then you take the pulpit and then you preach the word of God, which asks for us to relate in a certain way with our people. How do you balance the two?
It's an interesting question, but my answer is very simple. I think wherever I am, I know what I say or what I do impacts people. So here at the Commission, before I came here, I used to work in an investment banking firm, and it was clear to me that whatever I do impacts people. So I must always carry the sense of stewardship, and I must ask myself that what I'm doing, what would be the impact? I shouldn't think of only myself or look at it from a narrow viewpoint. So that is the case. When it comes to the work of ministry, Christian ministry, that is, it's also the same thing, because as a preacher or as a pastor, not only do I speak into the lives of people, people also look up to me, they look at what I do and all of that. So it's important for me always to remember that what I say in the pulpit or what I say with my actions or my life has a positive impact. So whether at work or in church or in ministry, for me, It's all about, are you having the right impact? Are your decisions, are your choices, are your words having the right impact on people? So it always keeps me very, very sober because I know that I can say something, I can decide to do something that will have implications for many people. So I do a lot of reflection, and I don't take my actions or my decisions lightly, because I know that anywhere I look at it, people are going to be impacted.
This is Reverend Daniel Ogbarmey Tetteh, Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission. He's a senior pastor at New Creation Chapel International. He's also the chairman of the West Africa Securities Regulatory Association. It's been an insightful discussion. We hope you enjoyed it. I am your host, Maxwell Akala Adombile. Thank you.